Coming up next here, live from Comerica Theater, it is Matthew Frincu taking on Danny Davis Jr. in the welterweight division. The Australian and the American both coming in just around 170 even pounds, identical reaches. Davis 33 years of age to Frincu's 22, as we send it inside the cage, and Jazz Sakura, who will have our introductions of the fighters here. As we said, 3 rounds of welterweight action taking place here in Comerica Theater in the welterweight division.
All right, here you go. You ready? You ready? Fight!
So here we go, scheduled for 3 rounds. Chael, I'll ask you right off the bat, how big of a factor is it that Danny Davis Jr. is 11 years older than Frincu?
Well, you know, there's a lot made of that, but I'll tell you, Todd, there's a tipping point. When I was a senior in high school, I sure as heck wasn't scared of any first graders, but at some point, that age can work against you. I'll tell you, just sizing him up and staring at him, he looks like a very fit athlete. I always get a kick out of the way the fight starts when the referee turns to the athletes and asks them both if they're ready. I can tell you from firsthand of knowledge, I've always thought, no, but I'm next.
Have you ever heard anyone say, you know what, let me give it another 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, what are my options here, ref? Is this multiple choice? Good shot there by Danny Davis. Now he's got a single leg position, not a terrific position to have in MMA. Frincu should be using his left hand to strike right here. He doesn't need to wrestle with him.
Great job by Matthew Frincu of balancing on that 1 foot, so good defense to him, and nothing doing for Danny Davis Jr., no takedown.
Whenever it comes to leg attacks, you want both of those legs, what we call a double leg position. When you only have one, the other guy's also got a leg to hop around on. It's not quite as effective a position, though Chris Weidman would disagree.
Exactly. He could have gone Karate Kid and sweep the leg, but he didn't do it.
Double underhooks here by Frincu. I don't think that's where he wants to be. Comes up with an elbow. Excellent technique. Knee to the body by Davis as he gets pushed into the fence. And right here, Davis is standing up too high, Todd. He needs to lower his elevation, drop those hips, and kind of sink into the fence. If he keeps those straight legs in that high posture, he will get taken down here. He wants to reverse positions right there. Frincu lets him off the cage.
Danny Davis Jr. was expecting more as they broke the clinch, and Frincu does not fire off anything. So back to square one, back to the center. As we go under 3 minutes to go here in round number 1, they come together again. It's Frincu with the big left hand that does the most damage.
Frincu is southpaw. That's going to always cause problems for your opponent. It's very hard to find a lot of southpaws, so training for one and preparing for one if you're in the spot of Danny Davis is always a bit of a challenge.
Now, step. Step to the 2. Circle your hook.
Both these guys have a considerable range, both tall, 6'2" and 6'1", with Davis the taller fighter, but both men have a 73-inch reach.
Both of these guys with good first efforts, but they're not doing what we call combinations, Todd. If they land a kick, they've got to follow that up with another kick or some hands. If they land some hands, they need to follow that with more hands or a kick.
Wow, straight left.
With no follow-up.
So Frincu comes in with singles, and then he goes back into the clinch. You saw the blood coming from his forehead. To check and see exactly where that cut has been initiated. Initially, I thought Frincu was just fixing his hair moments. I was like, leave the hair alone, but he's trying to brush away that blood so it doesn't get into the eyes.
Let's get that kick next year. Body's open. Body.
Wow, he winds up with that big left, and I don't want to say he's telegraphing it, Chael, but you see it coming.
You certainly do. I can see it from over here, but again, there's no follow-up to it. It's an excellent shot. I don't think he quite realizes how effective that lead left hand has been. He's landed it to the head, Todd. He's landed it to the body. It's a great initial strike if he follows it up. Again, excellent kick right there. No follow-up.
Coming up on the last minute of round number 1. This one's scheduled for 3 in the welterweight division. Danny Davis Jr. in the gray trunks. Matthew Frincu, the Australian, now fighting out of Arizona in the black with the tie red trim.
Let's go. Up. 2.
Not a lot of people lead with their rear hand. I'll tell you who does. It's not just Franco, it's also Floyd Mayweather. It's a great strategy if you can do it. With this reach advantage, he's pulling it off.
This time Frincu comes forward with combinations, doesn't do much damage as we go under 30 seconds to go in round one. Oh, just pushes him to the ground. Davis, a little late to pounce on him as Frincu's able to get back to his feet quickly.
Davis with his hands locked. Lets it go, but not without landing a good knee to the body.
Final 5 seconds of round number one. And we will see a second round here in the welterweight division between Matthew Frincu and Danny Davis Jr. So let's go back and take a look at round number one as Frincu came in on the kick. It's a miss, and look at this, just pushed to the ground by Danny Davis Jr., but he's slow to pounce.
Yeah, I think Davis was a little surprised that position happened.
He's going. We got to look to counter and split that or go under it.
Okay.
When you get in on that body lock, don't chase it forward, pull it. So you got in on a good body lock, you chase forward, he bumped it, and that's how he's covering back in. Kind of looking for
Good advice from Robert Follis there in the corner of Danny Davis.
Head feint, go 2. Look for that 10, look for that 10, put him against the fence and fucking bomb on him. I want that 3 behind the 2 now. Do you understand?
Trevor Lawley there with some advice. I didn't understand, Todd. Would you like to explain?
You know, I'm going to let that one go. I was looking at the work of Stitch Duran, making Matthew Frincu a little more presentable for round number 2.
Nice say. Well, you are as good as people say, huh? Nice say. Nice work right there.
Hold on.
Oh, my.
Well, the story of the first round for me, which I did favor for Frincu, was
All right, here
that
we
lead, or rather he was initiating with that rear left hand.
Right.
See if he can keep finding his mark. No, you cannot call timeout in mixed martial arts. That is one thing you cannot do. Referee lets it go.
He's talking about traction or something on the ground, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. It's like that Michigan basketball game where Chris Webber called timeout. You don't have any timeouts.
You have no timeout.
No timeout.
And that poor guy will never live that down.
Oh, my. Don't wish that on anyone. Now you saw as Danny Davis there was retreating. He did a little slide out as well, so they're probably going to have to do during the next change is get a towel out there because water from previous fights probably has gotten onto the canvas surface here in Phoenix. As we continue on, 4 minutes to go here. This one's scheduled for 3. The welterweights on the left side of your screen, that's Matthew Frincu in the black trunks, Danny Davis Jr. in the gray trunks.
Davis is very much on defense, Todd. He's been happy to counter tackle, and here he is with a takedown, but he hasn't offered much by way of offense. Here he is with the first ground and pound of the fight. Good elbow, but Frincu gets his hips out, comes to his feet, and they break away. I'm not sure why Danny Davis didn't attempt another takedown from there. He's been losing the striking battle. Yet he's also the one that is allowing this separation to take place.
You hear the corner of Matthew Frincu. They want him to come forward. Oh, came forward that time and paid the price with a short right coming from Danny Davis Jr.
Again, Davis not pressuring forward. Davis happy if this were a dance, Todd, to being led. And I'm a little confused by that. We're halfway through the contest almost, and I believe he is behind here. He's had some good success with the takedown when he's attempted it, but he's not attempted it very often. When something works in a fight, keep going back to it because your opponent will not be able to correct it midway through a competition. That's something you've got to do in the gym in the months leading to it. Wow, another big left hand by Frincu.
Good combination coming from Matthew Frincu.
Look at that left hand just right down the middle. Davis with pretty good defense. He is seeing it coming. That's the problem with throwing your rear hand as you're starting to a combination. It's coming from a few inches further back. Your opponent can adjust and react to it a little bit. But it's a very beautiful technique by Frincu. Oh!
Press on that, everybody. Press on that. Plus minus is in there. I'm talking. Plus minuses.
Frincu's corner calling for him to come forward again, and they want combinations. Wow, there you go. Straight left and then a shot to the midsection.
There was that follow-up. If you ever touch an opponent once, you can touch him twice. You always want to have that follow-up, Todd. We're not seeing a lot of that in this match, but they are sure chopping away at one another.
A lot of signals coming from both fighters. Frincu this time coming forward, that straight left. Davis is ready for it as we go up on 80 seconds to go of round number 2. This one's scheduled for 3.
Wow. Danny Davis, lucky that one didn't land. Frincu with a spinning wheel kick.
Now is Frincu really coming forward. He is the aggressor in this fight here, especially in round number 2. Wow.
Box all day. Box it. 3-2.
Danny Davis has had some good luck in that clinch position, Tom, but he continually throws it away. He gets to the clinch, he scores his attack, then he pushes Frincu away to the open where he's not been having good luck. I'm not certain why he's doing that. His corner's got to talk to him about that.
Final 15 seconds of round number 2 as Frincu has been the more aggressive fighter here in the last 60 seconds. Can he finish with a flurry? His blood now trickling down the right side of his face.
Good outside trip takedown for Frincu. Great way to finish a round. Last thing the judges are going to remember.
So a tremendous performance by Frincu to wrap up round number 2. Stitch Duran gets to him immediately. That was a very entertaining fight. Danny Davis may disagree with us, but Frincu really, that last 90 seconds to 2 minutes, the more aggressive fighter.
Yeah, he certainly was.
Back the ball away to the fence. You need to go. Like, just sit down and throw. If he's going to hit you, make it get an exchange.
There's that Frincu right hand. And Todd, again, that hand as a lead hand is coming from a little bit further away.
Yeah, the logo is
So his opponent is able to react to it by a millisecond longer. It's a little harder to land. And here's that outside trip, and again, didn't do a lot with it, but what a way to end a round. You always want to end the round on top. Make sure that's the last thing the judges have in their mind before they mark their sheet.
Here we go, guys. Here we go.
back. He's trying to take you down.
Corner's out.
He's got nothing.
On me, gentlemen.
And that will take us to the third and final round of this welterweight bout here from Comerica Theater in Phoenix, Arizona. WSOF 23, a lot of respect being paid to both fighters, but now it's on. Who wants this one? Shell, this is one of those fights that I can see it going either way. At this point, Davis could be the winner, Frincu would be the winner.
Yeah, I'm favoring Frincu right now, but this fight is by no means out of reach for Davis. He's had some good success here. I'd really like to see him get back to that clinch position, whether it's on his feet or on the ground. I think that's where he's had some of his best success. Right now, he's playing second fiddle. He is letting Frincu start and finish every exchange they're having on the feet.
He's got just over 4 minutes, does Danny Davis Jr. to make this one count as Matthew Frincu coming forward. And wow! As they release, he gets a kick to the side of the head of Danny Davis Jr., and Davis Jr. is lucky to still be standing.
Yeah, he wobbled on that one. I think he's getting his wits about him right now. He needs to keep his feet real close to the cage here. When his feet are outside, those are going to be used against him. Frincu's going to hook him and trip him and look to sweep him out. Davis comes off the fence. They're back in the open. This is the one part of the fight where I feel Davis has had his least success. I feel he's being led here by Frincu, and I'm not sure why he consistently concedes this position as opposed to closing the distance and getting his hands on it.
Matthew Frincu in the black trunks with the red trim has gotten stronger since round number 1, which Davis looked to be the more dominant fighter, and now Danny Davis Jr. in the gray trunks has just under 3.5 minutes to leave an impression with the judges.
Corner is now yelling for a kick behind the strike, also known as a combination. A lot like what you and I have been talking about this whole contest, Todd.
Where does Danny Davis turn now, Chael, as he comes up on 2.5 minutes left? Does he change strategy completely? Does he try to get this thing to the ground and look for a submission? What would you be telling your fighter if it was Danny Davis Jr.?
I really think that that's right, that he needs to try to get this this fight to the floor. We've seen this verse a little bit different and a little bit worse. It has not worked out for Danny Davis. He's very competitive here. This is a competitive fight, but when it comes down to who's touching who more, he's getting touched. And as I say that, it's a bit of a fire lit underneath him.
Danny Davis buckles momentarily as if he was going to shut it down. Frincu comes forward and Davis gets off a few shots. Then Frincu holds up his hands like, yeah, good move, and Davis says, oh, we're still on.
Davis has landed some pretty good
he has.
2 and 3 beat combos in this round, but he's got to know that his back's against the wall as far as a judge's scorecard goes. And there will be no such thing as too aggressive for Danny Davis in these last couple minutes.
Good battle here, and the final 90 seconds are now upon us in the third and final round. Danny Davis Jr. and Matthew Frincu.
Tell you, if Frincu didn't have that left hand, he wouldn't have anything in this contest. He's almost a one-handed fighter. Gives you one thing to look at, but boy, he can throw it straight and right down the middle. And just keeps finding his target. Good leg kick by Frincu. I'm seeing Frincu's hand starting to drop a little bit. I don't want to see him get overly confident here. There's still 60 seconds of a fist fight in front of him.
Danny Davis Jr. has to find a way to score some big points now. Under a minute to go, and it is Frincu that continues to stalk Danny Davis Jr. Final 30 seconds. You know, they come out of the clinch, it's usually Frincu that's the one that's, instead of clinching, he's just backing off, he's just going forward.
Yeah, absolutely, and it gives Davis an opportunity. He hasn't quite capitalized. This was a great fight. Listen, this was a very competitive fight.
And it comes to an end after 3 very competitive rounds here at the World Series of Fighting. Matthew Frincu and Danny Davis Jr. both raising their hands. And this one will go to the judges. Mutual respect being shown there as Frincu goes to the corner to congratulate Danny Davis Jr. on a terrific fight. And I think I'm in the camp of Chael Sonnen that I think Matthew Frincu did enough to get that victory.
Yeah, what an effort, though. I mean, both these guys, they stood their ground. They went out there and fight. You can always talk about strategies. And I think that Davis's could have been a little bit different, but boy, he certainly showed some heart.
How about this kick?
Yeah, right out of the clinch position, there's always an opportunity there.
Oh. That was a strange exchange.
Good toughness by Danny Davis. Had about a millisecond to decide if he wanted to continue the fight or not. And he pops back to life. Look at that. That is not a rope-a-dope, ladies and gentlemen. That was a body shot taken by Danny Davis.
Little rope-a-dopes. Joey Varner's telling me a little rope-a-dopes. He was selling that injury, or lack thereof. Want to check out the Mohegan Tribe ringside scoring app. Here's what Chael Sonnen had. He gives the win to Frincu 29-28. The audience had it 26-23. And look at this, Ray Calvin, one of the fans, he has Davis getting the win 29-28. So always a dangerous situation when you leave it up to the judges as we send it inside the cage. Jazz Sakuro has the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of professional fighting, we will go to the judges' scorecards. They have given us back a split decision. Judge Tom Gaubauer scores at 29-28 Davis. Judge Dennis O'Connell scores at 30-27 Frincu. And Judge Jim Prendergast scores at 29-28 for your winner by split decision, the Thunder from Down Under, Matthew Frincu.
So a split decision goes the way of Matthew Frincu. Really came down to 1 point on that third and final card, 29-28. So the Aussie fighting out of Tempe, Arizona gets the win, and he's now with Joey.
Yeah. Get ready. Listen. What you wanna do? If you don't strike first, that's when they gon' come at you. Yeah. And you know it's true. Don't let your life get worse. Being timid, that ain't cool. Nah.